Better barbecue? Preferred po' boy? Disputed origins and hometown bragging rights raise the stakes, but the real winners are whoever gets to dig into these culinary treats. Kansas City is home to numerous near-legendary barbecue restaurants, but the two most famous must surely be Arthur Bryant's Barbecue and Gates Barbecue. Of the two rivals, Bryant's wins points for longevity, since their barbecue dates back to 1908. The two have been friendly rivals for nearly 80 years. But in 2010, they slugged it out on Travel Channel's Food Wars, and Bryant's was declared the winner.
You chose Arthur Bryant's.
Food writer Calvin Trillin no doubt approved of the choice. Back in 1972, he'd written a piece in Playboy proclaiming Bryant's as not only the better restaurant over Gates, but as the best restaurant in the world. As for how the two stack up today, they're still running neck and neck. Bryant's has a 4.0 TripAdvisor rating and is rated the number 51 restaurant in town, while Gates also has a 4.0 rating and comes in at number 113. One place where the Italian influence is still very much in evidence in the U.S. is Boston's North End. While it's likely that most of the local bakeries offer cannolis in some form or other, there are two that are particularly renowned for this dish. Ironically, it's Modern Pastry Shop that is the older one, having been around for more than 90 years, while newcomer Mike's Pastry didn't open until 1946. Modern Pastry offers cannoli shells that are plain or chocolate-dipped, along with a small selection of fillings. Mike's, however, goes all in on specialty flavors, including Oreo, amaretto, and pumpkin spice. Pretty Living compared cannolis from both places and found Modern's to be clearly superior, thanks to being freshly prepared, whereas Mike's cannolis came out of a glass case. They also noted that Mike's is more of a tourist attraction, but Bostonians apparently tend to prefer Modern's cannolis. One of the best known of all food rivalries is the cheesesteak war that's gone on for decades between Philadelphia restaurants Pat's King of Steaks and Geno's Steaks. Philadelphia has no shortage of cheesesteakeries, with Guide to Philly even grumbling that no true Philadelphian would nominate either Geno's or Pat's as the city's best. Still, the fact remains that Pat's and Geno's are the two big dogs of the Philly cheesesteak scene, and conveniently, they are located right across the street from each other. As to which one is better, Guide to Philly points out that as long as you order sandwiches using similar ingredients, there's only one real difference. The bread is nearly identical, as are the cheese and condiments, but Pat's steak is shaved thin, while Geno's is chopped. They give the edge to Pat's due to the fact that the shaved steak stays tender, while the chopped beef tends to be a bit drier. The chimichanga, while it can be found on the menu of many Mexican restaurants, is actually 100% American. The New York Times says Phoenix-based Macayo claims to have come up with the dish in 1946, while the Los Angeles Times reports that several different Tucson restaurants lay claim to the invention. Perhaps the most colorful origin tale is that of Tucson's El Charro Café, where at some point in the 40s or 50s, the owner was said to have accidentally dropped a burrito in boiling oil. Since children were around, she suppressed her originally intended obscenity and came up with the fake cuss word, chimichanga, instead. Origins aside, a Denver Post reporter undertook the 2-hour drive between the cities to try both El Charro cafes and Macayo's versions. The verdict? Macayo's chimi is a bit more crispy, but El Charro's has a spicy tang to it. A Coney Island hot dog, confusingly enough, doesn't come from Coney Island. Instead, it's a Detroit specialty consisting of a chili dog with raw onions and mustard. While the origins of this are unknown, there are two undisputed masters of the art: American Coney Island and Lafayette Coney Island. Both restaurants not only share the same block, but also the same family of origin. American Coney Island was established in 1917 by a Greek immigrant named Gus Kuros. while Lafayette, Coney Island was built right next door in 1924 by Gusta's brother Bill.
We see daily generations of people coming in here. Remember Grandpa bringing them. My mom brought me.
The general consensus seems to be that American is the more tourist-friendly of the two, although Lafayette may be making bank off its shabbier appearance, since this is perceived as being more authentic. As to the flavor of the respective chili dogs, Barstool Sports gives the nod to American, while the Detroit Moxie blog prefers Lafayette due to their heartier, spicier chili and thinner, crispier fries. The French dip sandwich's earliest purported date of origin is 1908, at which time a cook at Cole's Pacific Electric Buffet in Los Angeles is alleged to have dropped the top half of a bread roll into some beef juice, a happy accident that pleased the sandwich-buying customer. A somewhat more recent claim comes from Philippe's, where a similar incident may or may not have happened in 1917 and possibly involved either a fireman or police officer. If Philippe's invented the sandwich, this might also help to explain its name since Philippe Matou was French by birth. According to Los Angeles Magazine, Philippe's also has the superior sandwich with better beef, bread, and au jus. Cole's, however, does have a more flavorful mustard, so there's that. Pittsburgh, Kansas is a town that has just one claim to fame, or rather two: Chicken Annie's and Chicken Mary's. These two restaurants serve up the crispiest, juiciest chicken you've ever tasted. Chicken Annie's has been in business just a bit longer, as they got their start during the Great Depression, but Chicken Mary's opened in the early 40s. Amazingly enough, BBC Travel reports that both restaurants are still run by the same families. When both restaurants appeared on Travel Channel's Food Wars, Chicken Mary's was declared the winner. But Chicken Annie's co-owner, Donna Lipoglov, dismissed the so-called war by telling the Joplin Globe, "If Chicken Mary's didn't have good food, they wouldn't have been there this long, and it's the same for us." If there's one state that's known for its ice cream throwdown, that would be Ohio, where Columbus-based Jeni's Splendid Ice Creams has been slugging it out with Cincinnati's own Graeters for the past 2 decades. The Jeni's versus Graeter's rivalry may be a generational thing. Graeter's, around since 1870, goes with more of an old-fashioned approach and less radical flavors. Jeni's, on the other hand, was established in 2002 and seems to cater to a millennial clientele with its flavors, including everything bagel, cold brew with coconut cream, and butterscotch popcorn. Jeni's does, however, have a famous fan from an older generation, President Joe Biden. Graeter's, though, gets some Gen Z love from Ohio State's student publication, The Lantern. Their reviewer feels that the venerable chain's high-quality ingredients, plus their mastery of the classic flavors, gives them the edge over trendy upstart Jeni's without the need for gimmicks. If you're a true buffalo wing aficionado, then you most likely know that the dish was created at the Anchor Bar in Buffalo, New York. However, one restaurant that seems poised to steal away Anchor's King of the Wings crown is Duff's.
Duff's has the best wings, period. Anchor Bar can't compare. They're not close. They may have been first, but they're last now.
In 2010, Duff's earned an upset victory over Anchor Bar on Travel Channel's Food Wars, thanks to a single vote cast by a former Miss Buffalo Wing. Fast forward to today, and it seems that Duff's is still ahead by a wingtip. In 2019, taste testers from Insider sampled wings from both establishments and once again declared Duff's to be the victor due to their extra crispy wings and tangy sauce. As a Duff's employee pointed out, Duff's is more of a hometown favorite, whereas Anchor Bar is seen as somewhat of a tourist trap. As the Daily Meal explains, the Italian beef sandwich is like a Philly cheesesteak without the cheese, and also resembles a French dip, due to the au jus. The Italian beef sandwich has one distinguishing feature though: Chicago-style hot giardiniera, a condiment that's considerably spicier than its Italian counterpart. 3 names keep coming up whenever people argue about who's got Chicago's best Italian beef. Al's number 1 beef and Mr. Beef were featured on Travel Channel's Food Wars, and Mr. Beef was declared the winner, with the publication Daily Meal concurring. A few years later, Alton Brown did a blind taste test comparing Al's to another contender, Johnnie's beef, and he picked the latter of the two. Chicago's ABC7 also chose Johnnie's as their top pick, noting that the establishment not only has a superior sandwich, but they also make the best lemon ice in town. The Juicy Lucy is a Midwest regional specialty that is yet to catch on outside the region. Although both the 5-8 Club and Matt's Bar claim to have invented the cheese-stuffed burger, only Matt's really has much of a backstory. They say it was created at the request of a customer in 1954, and when the customer happily bit into the burger's cheesy center, they allegedly exclaimed, "That's one Juicy Lucy!" While both Matt's and 5-8 have their fans, Matt's sticks to the original version with nothing but American cheese inside the burger and caramelized onions and pickles on top. The 5-8 Club, however, offers their Lucy with a choice of cheeses, as well as variants like PB&J, buffalo chicken, and a Lucy covered in tater tots. According to the Village Voice, one particularly heated rivalry when it comes to New York pizza is that between Grimaldi's and Juliana's. The backstory is a bit confusing. It seems that Grimaldi's used to be called Patsy's, but the name was changed after the death of the owner. The new owner was a nephew of the original Patsy Grimaldi and shared the same name. He later sold the restaurant to a new owner but came to regret the decision and opened a pizzeria right next door named Juliana's. When the Village Voice reviewed the two pizzerias in 2013, they found Juliana's pizza to be much better than Grimaldi's. Nearly a decade later, it seems Juliana's is still winning. They have a 4.5-star rating on TripAdvisor and are rated the 9th best restaurant in Brooklyn, while Grimaldi's rates just 4 stars and comes in at number 72. Perhaps the biggest food rivalry revolves around what may be Chicago's best-known specialty, deep dish pizza. Lou Malnati's, a long-established regional chain, or Giordano's, which is also a chain that's been around since the disco decade. Both claim to be the best. Insider compared both pizzas and found Giordano's version to be very cheesy and buttery, but on the whole, rather bland, boring, and soggy. Lou Malnati's pizza, however, had a crunchier crust and far more flavorful toppings, thanks in part to their use of 3 different kinds of cheese. In fact, the reviewer, who had not been a fan of deep dish pizza at all, said that Lou Malnati's special made a convert out of them.
Whenever I think of deep dish Chicago pizza, I automatically think of Lou Malnati's.
2 New Orleans restaurants best known for the roast beef po' boy are Parasol's Bar and Restaurant and Tracey's Bar and Restaurant, both located in the Irish Channel neighborhood. These restaurants actually have a history somewhat similar to the Grimaldi's Juliana's saga in that the family who originally owned Parasol's sold it to new owners. In this case, the couple who had been managing Parasol's for a dozen years weren't happy with the new ownership, so they opened Tracey's using Parasol's old recipes, equipment, and staff. The Times-Picayune reviewed both restaurants in 2012 and picked the new and improved Parasol's as the winner of the Po' Boy War. They may still be winning today, as their 4.5-star TripAdvisor rating beats Tracey's 3.5 stars.